really need to figure out an intro, don't I? Everyone knows Donkey Kong, the classic 80s arcade game that made Mario and Donkey Kong the icons they are today, and also made Pauline the NPC she is today. Sorry, Pauline. And one shan't forget the sequel, Donkey Kong Jr., where you rescue your papa from the evil Mario, who's caged him up for destroying property and kidnapping women. Yeah, you can look as sad as you want, DK. You were kinda asking for this.
Okay.
Both of these games are great. Classics. The definition of arcade games. I mean, besides Pac-Man, but I'm pretty sure his franchise is dead.
The Pac is back.
He would be if anyone watched that show. But there exists a third Donkey Kong arcade game. The often forgotten, but never... Donkey Kong 3! Yeah, kinda weird to have 3 in the title, when the second game didn't have a 2 in it. Donkey Kong 3 was released in 1983, with its NES counterpart coming out in 1986. But does this game deserve to be forgotten? Well, let's take a look and find out. Also, yes, it does deserve to be forgotten. So in this game, you play as this guy named Stanley. So yes, I can say with all honesty and no objection that this is the story of a man named Stanley. But yeah, no Mario, no Pauline, no Junior, just Donkey Kong, Stanley, and some bugs. Where's Donkey Kong Jr.? Does this take place before he had a son? What happened to teaching him math and stuff? Yeah, remember Donkey Kong Jr. math? Actually, that came out before Donkey Kong 3. So isn't this technically Donkey Kong 4? The story, I guess, is that Donkey Kong broke into this greenhouse for some bananas or something, and Stanley has to force him out by shooting fly spray up his butt. I mean, look, I don't know where else it would be going, it's clearly his butt. So Donkey Kong hits these beehives, which makes these bugs angry, and you also need to kill these bugs before they steal these plants. And I assume these plants are important because it's a greenhouse. I don't know. To win, you either need to kill all the bugs or push Donkey Kong to the top of the screen. So are we just pushing him up to the roof? This is clearly not working considering he just comes back. In fact, I'm pretty sure he's entering through the top. How else would he jump onto these 2 random poles hanging from the ceiling? Also, why are there 2 random poles hanging from the ceiling? Another thing I should question is why Stanley is the only one in the greenhouse. Like, are all of his co-workers gone? What does this mean? Or maybe they're just all in the meeting room, or perhaps he simply just missed a memo. You know, the memo that said, "Please don't come into work today, there is a giant gorilla who will probably kill you." So yeah, there really isn't much else to say about the game. I mean, I don't know what I would do to make it better. Vehicles, skill trees. Work with me, Stanley, you've given me nothing so far. Unsurprisingly, this game was far less successful and much more forgettable than the other two. Hence why it sold much worse. As much as Nintendo references the classic Donkey Kong games, they don't seem to mention Donkey Kong 3 all that much. But hey, it was in NES Remix. For one stage. That's not it for Donkey Kong 3, as there was a sequel to the threequel, a part 2 if you will. Donkey Kong 3, Dai Kia Kaishu, which roughly translates to Donkey Kong 3 Great Counter-Strike, was released in 1984 on a whole bunch of consoles you've never heard of. This game was developed by, get this, Hudson Soft. Yes, Bomberman Mario Party Hudson Soft, in one of their first games. Well, aside from the classic Punchball Mario Bros, but you already know that one. Actually, this game has been considered lost for many years, up until 2017, when the Sharp X1 version was found. And maybe it should have stayed lost. I mean, the box art makes it clear to be quiet about it. The opening also makes it quite clear that Donkey Kong is
impossible to kill.
Surprisingly, this game is actually very different from the NES and arcade version, removing the ability to jump and acting more like a traditional 2D shooter. The goal is still to kill bugs or push DK to the top of the screen, although this time he's parachuting down instead of whatever he was doing, gymnastics? But I'm sure you're more concerned about what's going on in the background. Well, unlike the first version, which all took place in the same greenhouse, this one takes place in 20 different locations, like on the Strange Bridge. I don't think I'd call it strange, but, you know, I didn't name it. Okay, I just beat stage 3. Where to next? The aliens? Of course the aliens. This is making logical sense now. I mean, this is one of my favorite Mushroom Kingdom locations. I don't know about you. Leaving Earth? Well, okay then, goodbye Earth, best of luck! We then end up around Saturn on a mysterious planet near a pyramid and... Okay, I'll be honest, I don't even recognize this place at all. Is this the story? I can't quite recall, but I thought this story took place in a greenhouse. Is that correct? You remember, Stanley? Then we go to an active volcano, the sandbird from Mario Sunshine, a mushroom cloud, because I guess we got nuked. You know what? I'm not even gonna try. I'm out. I'm done. It's over. Thank you for playing. But Stanley's adventures don't end here. Because what if I were to tell you that this game has its own animated series? I'm lying, actually. Okay, see, there was an 80s cartoon called Saturday Supercade, which comprised of animated shorts based off popular video games. You know, like Frogger, Hubert, and of course Donkey Kong. Like the games, these segments follow Donkey Kong running from Mario and Pauline, with Pauline often getting kidnapped. How do you make a whole show out of that premise? I don't care. I just know that one of the episodes is based off Donkey Kong 3 called Greenhouse Gorilla. Donkey Kong escapes into Stanley's greenhouse, like in the game, but now Stanley has this sentient Venus flytrap named Herman.
Got you a special treat for lunch, Herman.
I'd make a Little Shop of Horrors reference, but honestly, I'm just looking at this fern. I feel like it's going to be important later in the story. So this guy with the very creative name of Mr. X steals Herman and tricks Donkey Kong into helping him.
Why don't you come along with us? You can take care of Herman, and I'll take care of you.
So yeah, they escape with Herman, and Stanley asks the help of Mario to stop them.
Did he look like this?
Well, yeah, but it was a lot better drawn than that. Also, how? I also like this terrible fade shot, because as the car changes, the background stays completely the same, so it looks like the car's just like morphing into the other one. So Mr. X uses Herman to eat registers so he can grab the money? I mean, I don't know what you would do with a genetically altered plant. Sell it to scientists? That's dumb! What would you gain from that?
Are you sure this will work, Mario?
Sure, I'm sure. My vacuum trap is foolproof.
You can tell it's foolproof by how tiny the cage, tube, and vacuum is compared to Donkey Kong.
I'll take care of this. Uh-oh, I'm running out.
You were using bug spray on fruit. What did you think was gonna happen? So Mr. X takes DK and Herman to a fancy party. For evil purposes, I guess. Pauline and Stanley are able to sneak in and alert DK that he's being used.
Wait, Donkey Kong. We'll wait, and when he goes for the loot, we'll catch him red-handed.
Gotcha.
And I guess DK is gonna trust the people who are trying to capture him? Look, DK, I know putting your trust in someone is hard, but you're just kind of flip-flopping motivations here. Those aren't bombs, those are vases! Which makes me wonder how they're not immediately shattering when being thrown onto the ground. They made of like rubber? What is it?
I've got my Herman back, thanks to you and Pauline.
And thanks to you, we have Donkey Kong.
Look again, Mario.
Come back here, you overgrown fuzzball!
That's our Donkey Kong.
What do you mean, that's our Donkey Kong? You gotta go through more crap to get him now. You should be like, screw you, Donkey Kong, you suck, I hate you. Also, Mario Kart totally ripped off the banana item from this episode. Shame on them. Well, that's it for Donkey Kong 3. So, should Stanley return for the next Mario or Donkey Kong game? No. Should Donkey Kong 3 be remembered as a piece of Nintendo history? No. Are the Donkey Kong 3 aliens secretly the aliens from Mario Galaxy 2? No. Was this whole video an excuse to make Stanley parable jokes? The world will never know.
for you. If you know the words, you can join in too. Put your hands together if you wanna clap as we take you through this monkey rap. Huh.
Also, yes, it was an excuse to make Stanley Parable jokes.
D.K. Donkey Kong.